Hello, everyone, and hello to everyone in the room. I'm going to pull up my slides here. Before we jump into the content here, I would really love to understand how many of you are Toastmasters members? Raise your hands in the room, raise your virtual hand if you're joining us virtually.
Jen, I need to share your screen on Zoom.
Got it. Daniel's going to hook me up with the slides. And Diane, how many people in the virtual room are raising their hands for current Toastmasters?
Let me get a different view.
Gotcha.
Okay. If you're a current Toastmaster online, raise your hand. Okay, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some people don't have their cameras on. So at least half. So at least 10 people, probably more.
Excellent. So thank you for sharing that, because I am not a current Toastmaster. So I wanted to put that out there, be very transparent about it, because I exited Toastmasters and I said, this is so amazing, presentation skills, that I want to become a professional speaker. I want to get paid oodles and oodles of money to do this thing that I love and that people tell me I'm pretty good at. I mean, I won a few speech contests, I was at the district, things like that. So I'm like, I guess I'm pretty good at this speaking thing. And I knew people who were professional speakers. So I said, okay, how can I harness the skills I already have and turn this into a business? So when it comes to Toastmasters, it's kind of a test tube, right? You go into Toastmasters either because you're forced in. I was highly encouraged to join it because my workplace was like, well, you need to improve something. Choose that something. So I'm like, okay, Toastmasters. They were on site. I'm like, I'll do it. But they're all contained in very supportive groups. As we've heard from Jim, there are quite a few different options for what your interest level may be within Toastmasters. Fabulous. There are nearly 275,000 clubs globally. Awesome. The average age of the Toastmaster is 50 years old, and they have a 50% retention rate.
Jen, can I interrupt? I got to redo the share.
Go ahead. What you don't know if you're in Toastmasters and you're looking to make the jump is how to be a speaker outside of Toastmasters. They don't share that information with you. Sometimes there'll be educational programs that help you with that. I was clueless. So what I would like to help all of you do is figure out how to make that leap if you're willing and wanting to learn more. Okay, so Toastmasters is a test tube for what you can do within the club, but what if you want to escape the club? Let's look into that. Do you call yourself a motivational speaker or an inspirational speaker? You can say yes in the chat if you're joining us virtually, or just nod your head if you're in the room with me. Do you call yourself an inspirational speaker? A few nods, a few no's, a few maybe. So the difference between a motivational speaker is someone who has a signature story. You have an experience. You have stories that you're so good at telling because of your presentation skills through Toastmasters that you want to share that story and inspire people. You might be a public speaker. You might take it for pay, not for pay. When you have a signature speech, that's when you go pro. It's not just about a signature story. And I say this tongue in cheek because I grew my entire business through sharing my personal transformation story of losing 100 pounds. I don't share that story anymore. I still speak every day though. I spoke 5 times this week. So knowing the difference between a signature story, something that motivates people, something that inspires them, and turning it into a signature speech is how you first go pro. We'll talk also about how to determine whether people will pay you. Jim had mentioned a little bit about corporate paying you. We'll talk about that. There's more than one market that will pay you, I promise. And then a 90-day strategy should you choose to accept the challenge of how to go pro. Stories are priceless, which is why not a lot of people pay you for your story. That's why we have a lot of content creators. That's why we have a lot of books and low ticket courses and programs online. LinkedIn Learning has a lot of free courses you can do. Stories are priceless and people don't always want to pay for your story. What they will pay for is your speech, the idea behind your speech, because you are sharing that content in a way nobody else has and the way that you can do it. That's what they're paying for. And finally, they're paying for you. Now, some people, celebrity speakers, get $100,000 per speech because they bring people into the room. We're talking former Olympians. We're talking people who climbed Mount Everest. We're talking about former presidents, the big high rollers. Most of us will not become that in our lifetime. So, and until you reach that level, people are not going to pay for you as a person, as a speaker. They're paying for your speech, the idea behind it. And then if you get lucky and you reach the top 1% or 5%, whatever it is, it's you. So where do we start with the framework? How do we take our current stories, which we're very good at telling, and turn it into a framework that leaves a legacy to come? This took me many, many years to discover, and I help people with that. I do have a free resource, and I'll have a QR code available for you to download that free resource, should you choose to accept that. When I work with clients, I help them understand, where do you want to go ultimately with your speaking? I don't care what your speaker journey looks like. Everyone is different. Everyone has a different purpose. Do you want to get paid a speaking fee? We can build a journey around that. Do you want to just attract people to your books? We can build a journey around that. Anything will come to you when you're intentional about what you want that to look like. So let's talk more about this signature speech thing, right? Jen, that's too much pressure. One speech for the rest of my life that I have to deliver. Yeah, I delivered a presentation this past week that I've been delivering for 8 years. People still pay for it. It's easy for me to deliver. I can do it in my sleep. That's the legacy. You can build your legacy with one speech. You don't need a whole list of different ways you can support people. One speech. So start with your own ideas. Maybe you just rocked the world at your last Toastmasters meeting. That could be the beginning of your signature speech. Get inspired by your competitors. I don't say steal from them, but we're in a world of AI, right? We're in a world where we're inspired by other people. We're in collaborative environments. See what your competitors are bringing to the market and see how you can do it better, differently, or with your own unique value added to it. And then refresh and iterate with each speech delivery. You can practice in Toastmasters. You can practice at Chambers of Commerce. You can practice online if you want to. You can practice wherever you want. Keep refreshing your content and seeing how it resonates with your audience. So when it comes to going pro, I have this business test. I call it a MAP. It stands for Money, Audience, and Program. This is how you can determine whether people will pay you for your content. That easy. Do they have a budget that they pay speakers for? How are you appealing to their audience? And the program. What is your program relevant to what they are hoping to achieve? Once you answer all of these questions, again and again and again, with event planners, they will keep saying yes to you. They will love you. So you can do the things that you're good at doing. Money, honey. So let's talk about going pro, right? It's awesome to get paid for your passion. It's awesome to make an impact without getting paid. Let's do both. The way we do that is by start charging a speaking fee. Now you may be like, well, Jen, I'm not worth $100,000. Maybe not. Maybe not today. Maybe not yet. You can be. You will be. But generally people start with $1,000 when they're starting from Toastmasters or places like that. Depending on what market you're looking at, you could go up to 5,000. Depending on how well you solve their problems, you could go up to 10,000. Yes, for 1 hour. What about programming and book sales? If you published a book, you have multiple books. People want those books. It makes you a more attractive speaker. Can you give a book to everyone in your audience? They're going to want to hire you to speak. Email lists. If you're speaking in a conference with 5,000 attendees, and maybe they're not paying you, but they allow you to access the email list of everyone who's attending that conference. These are people who benefit from what you do and what you speak on. That's compensation. It's not cash, it's compensation. Video footage. This meeting is being recorded. Many of the things you're going to be doing online and as a speaker especially if you do virtual, will be recorded. Sometimes you can utilize that video footage for good. You can put it on YouTube if you want to follow Jim's advice. You can put it on TikTok if you have something that just pulls out clips for you so you don't have to do all that work. But when someone's looking to hire you, they're wanting to get a sense of who you are as a speaker. They want your video footage. And you don't have to put all the bells and whistles on it, that speaker reel stuff where it's like $2,000 to get a fancy speaker reel with music and audience reactions. They want raw footage of you. That's what the event planners are looking for. Can you keep an entire audience glued to your presentation for more than 5 minutes? They want that raw footage. So give it to them. And then licensing. I don't personally do this, but I know people who earn thousands and thousands of dollars through train the trainer types of curriculum from their content that started with a signature speech. Would that much money help you with what you're trying to achieve? It might. Why do event planners hire you? To engage their audience, to entertain them, if you're a keynote speaker especially. If you can't entertain them as a keynote speaker, you're out. Education. A lot of people who do breakout proposals, they're educating the audience on something that they are doing a certain way but could do better or faster. That's why events hire you. If you can't solve all of this with your speech, they may not be interested in bringing you back for a second speech or a third speech or the following year. Sorry for my gravelly voice. I'm recovering from a cold. So who is seeking speakers that they're willing to pay? Here are the different markets. And if you were to work with me, you would understand that there's a high-level speaker booking process I walk you through so that you know exactly what to do and when every month so that you stay consistently booked and on stages. I walk people through that through my master classes on Eventbrite, but here's a nutshell what we can talk about today. These are the different markets who currently have budgets to pay speakers and are looking for speakers every month. Corporate, nonprofits, and or government. It's a tough time for government for some, but there is still money available there. Associations, Jim mentioned a few, like the engineering, I can't remember what it was, the American Engineering Society. I love associations. I'm part of International Coaching Federation, and I've presented to them many, many times, both locally and internationally. Education. There are distinct markets within education, K through 12, so secondary school. There's also post-secondary, colleges and universities, and there's staff at colleges and universities. Any of those people will hire you to speak to their people. Oh, thank you, Therese. I appreciate it. And last but not least, entrepreneurship and ministry. Now, I grouped these categories together in that way for a very particular reason. Highest amount of money to lowest amount of money that they'll pay you. Corporate is the big ticket, the high rollers, especially if you do a retreat for CEOs, big money, all the way down to entrepreneurship and ministry. Ministry is horrible at paying people what they deserve. I'm just going to say it. I've not spoken for churches. I know people who have. They don't pay you what you're worth. Entrepreneurs will tend to go towards collaborative events where maybe you pay for something and then you sell through a funnel. It's not the best model for everyone. But all those other markets have defined budgets and are ready to pay you. So I told you I'd help you with the game plan, and I'm one to live up to my promises. For the next 90 days, or 30 days if you're super action-oriented, determine what the value of your signature speech is. You can start at 1,000 if you'd like. You can determine what that speech looks like and get an idea of what markets you want to bring that speech to. Now, we're going to have Daniel talk about your speaker kit or the tools you need to really market yourself as a speaker. So stay tuned because he's going to help us out with that. But determine what speaking market you want to focus on. I speak for corporate, associations, and entrepreneurs. You get to choose whoever you want to speak to because it's your choice and it's your unique journey. And don't forget to practice like a pro. Pros don't show up and figure it out or wing it as they arrive. Please don't do that. They won't bring you back. So when you're practicing, here are different options. A lot of these are low cost. online. There are groups online you can join where you can collaborate with peers. In person, local places, Toastmasters, Rotary, Chamber. They're always looking for speakers. Audio only, you can pull out your phone and do voice memos and record yourself as practice. Listen to your words and see how it lands. Video, you can record a video on Zoom right now. You can record, hopefully for YouTube, but if you don't like it, re-record it. Or you can join me inside of the green room. More details soon. The best thing you can do is practice with other people who are trying to make the same impact as you. When I left Toastmasters, I had no way to practice my big speeches, the ones that I was getting paid to do. And I'm like, I'll just figure it out. I'll just figure out my own rehearsal process. If you are curious about rehearsing your signature speech with other experienced speakers, especially if you have a booking within the next 3 to 4 months, I encourage you to check out the flyer for those of you who aren't in the room. I have flyers on the table over there. Online, you can scan this QR code if you'd like. And I'll just leave that slide up there. We start on June 3rd because a lot of people don't speak during the summer. It's kind of a slow time depending on what markets you speak for. Only entrepreneurs and corporate keep going over the summer. The others kind of take a break, like associations and education. You can't get a hold of anyone at a university between June and July. It's really hard. In conclusion, I'd like to say, you have a message to share, and I want you to find the right stage for your message. I believe there's a stage for you, and I want to help you find that stage. Sarah.